A lovely warm evening to all present here. Risk more than others think is safe. Dream more than others think is practical. I repeat, risk more than others think is safe. Dream more than others think is practical. Howard Schultz, Starbucks CEO. Today, we are all connected for a webinar on the topic, the impact of digital in today's business. GIBS has introduced a series of free national and international level webinars, leadership talk series, and panel discussions on trending topics called GIBSpreading, the light of knowledge. Through GIBSpreading, the light of knowledge webinars, panel discussions, and leadership talk series, GIBS aims to bridge the gap between the classroom learning and the ground realities of the business world by inviting national and international thought leaders who are industry experts, academic luminaries, and entrepreneurs to share their vast array of challenging experiences. These talk series with national and international thought leaders are spread over the course of the entire year for the students. Not only do these sessions inculcate a strong, productive relationship between the academia and the industry, but also provide students an opportunity to gain crucial insight into the present market trends, operational challenges, by learning from the industry stalwarts themselves, even before stepping into the industry. On behalf of GIBS Business School, Bangalore, I welcome all the participants to this webinar. Before we start, kindly allow me to say a few words about GIBS Business School. GIBS Business School, that is Global Institute of Business Studies, is a part of Goel Educational Trust. It is an exclusive business school located in the IT and BT capital of the world, Bangalore. GIBS is an institute of international standards. GIBS Business School's PGDM and BBA degree are the cutting-edge programs with a difference. It is a result of the curated, extraordinary minds who come alive to fuel the future generation leaders of GIBS. GIBS takes pride in creating new milestones and recognition as one of the innovative and prestigious business schools of India, striving for students' excellence in business education. GIBS Business School, Bangalore has added another feather to its cap. GIBS has extended its footprint to feature in Forbes India magazine. Yes, Forbes India magazine, the top leading business magazine, as GIBS BSchool, the New Age Business School 2021. GIBS is excited to share that it is ranked as the 11th best top emerging BSchool of India for BBA by Times of India BSchool survey. So without much ado, I welcome you all once again to this webinar. And in today's business, go digital or go home is the slogan. In this era of digitalization, the impact of digital has created a paradigm shift in role, responsibility, attitude, and aptitude. The impact of digital technologies is prevalent in every spectrum of our lives. Digitalization is closely linked to the growth of our economy. Hence, digital is the talk of the town. We hear about digital technologies, digital data, digital media, digital transformation, digital marketing, and so on. So, but which way to go? GIBS Business School believes in preparing the students according to the dynamics and the trends of the industry. Go along with the trends, GIBS offers artificial intelligence, machine learning, business analytics, data analytics, SAP, digital marketing, Excel, and image consulting, knowledge and skills of technology, which are quintessential to set one's career. To enlighten you more about the impact of digital in business, today we have Mr. Soumyadip Chakraborty amidst us. I request Mr. Sandeep Bansali, Head Operations, GIBS Business School, to introduce our esteemed guest of today's webinar. Sir, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for allowing me to take this privilege to introduce our guest for the evening. So GIBS is delighted with your presence, sir. With all humility and gratitude on behalf of the management and the fraternity of GIBS Business School in Bangalore, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. I deem it as my proud privilege to introduce you to our Augustine gathering. Mr. Soumyadip Chakraborty is the head digital transformation at Vikram Solar. He was the founder and CEO of Som Consulting and Services. Mr. Chakraborty have done his education or his PGDM specifically from IIM Bangalore in 2006. And he had started his career as an electrical maintenance technical manager with Tata Motors and marketing executive at Siemens Limited. Sir has more than about 16 years of experience across business development, strategic planning, business process reengineering, transitioning, account management, change management, execution of various projects, and worked across multiple geographies, including India, Bangladesh, China, and Uzbekistan. He had worked with a lot of corporate houses where we dream to be a part of a lot of such corporate houses, such as the PricewaterhouseCoopers Private Limited. He served as VP Business Development Associate at ENY, Associate Director at KPMG Management Consulting, and many more. So he's also been awarded as a medal by the Governor of West Bengal for securing the highest marks in his electrical engineering laboratory as well as the PGDM from IIM Bangalore. Despite a successful career, and Soumyadip sir have never lost the touch with the academia. He had been associated with enormous number of institutions established across the India, like VG SOM, that is IIT Kharagpur. We have IIM, MET Kolkata, ISBNM, IMS, IMT, ASB Hyderabad, Watson School of Business, and so on and so forth. So, sir, if I read on your profile, I can go on for probably a couple of hours. So the accomplishment which I could see in your resume, in your profile, which you had shared with us, I was overwhelmed to have you amongst us and being a key person for today's session. So I beg a pardon from you, sir, that we all are eagerly waiting to listen to you. And we want to gather as much as information which we could recollect from you. Just to mind the audience, in case, dear participants, if you have any queries, any questions to be asked to sir, we request you to kindly put it in the Q&A section so that sir will take it at the end of the sessions. So I request all, please put it in the Q&A session, and over to you, sir. We are eagerly waiting to listen to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sandeep. Thank you very much, Professor Ratna, for a warm welcome and a wonderful introduction to this forum. Well, whenever I get introduced in the forums like this, at times, I feel extremely blessed to get the opportunity to interact with the bright minds like the gathering here on this particular platform. And it also tells me and reminds me, being amidst all of you who are so well educated, so well accomplished in your respective fields, that there is still so much to be done. So with that particular theme in mind, we'll quickly, jump into the topic, which is again ever evolving. That field is continuously changing today. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Just kindly allow me to put it back on presentation mode. Yes. So the field that I'm going to talk about is around digital transformation. Now, digital transformation over almost past 1 decade, there has been a lot of clout and cloud at the same time around this particular time. Okay, we talk about so many new technologies coming up almost every day, and new areas like artificial intelligence, machine learning, business transformation, and many more. Okay, so as we are talking today, also we are seeing a number of new areas, application in deep learning, which are evolving continuously. And the industry as we know today has been transformed or revolutionized, the minimum that we can talk about. So with that particular notion, let us take a quick plunge into this particular area. How I have structured this session over next about 50 minutes to 1 hour is that I have got a few slides, which I'll quickly walk through. And then we will definitely get into the Q&A, and I'll be very happy to answer most of your queries to the extent and to the capability of mine. So we'll start with a quick introduction about myself, in terms of the overall journey that I had and what is my overall takeaway from this entire digital journey. What is digital transformation? That will be the next topic that we'll get into. Why digital transformation? We are going to ask some fundamental questions. Why digital? Because digital in one way or the other has been there, even 20, 25 years back, or even 30 years back. People had their website, companies were there, internet was there. So what has changed over the last maybe 5-6 years that we all are talking so much about digital? And like ma'am said that, either you go digital or go home. What has changed fundamentally? Then we are going to understand some of the levers of digital transformation. Obviously, it will not be an exhaustive list, but obviously we will cover some of them. Then benefits of digital transformation, what is driving actually the organizations towards digital transformation, what kind of benefit they are getting out of it. And of course, the road ahead, how the road looks from an aspirant perspective, because I understand that in today's gathering, there are many people who aspire to become data scientists, who want to really make a foray, after doing an MBA, they really want to build a very strong career in that particular area, awarding career. So what are the things that they need to do? We will very quickly touch upon towards the end on that area as well. So very quickly, again, I will not bore you with the entire background of mine, but what I would like to say is that I started, with an engineering degree in the BE Electrical, like many of you who are here today, probably. And then I worked for almost 3-4 years in the industry. I was blessed to get the job in the core industry in Tata Motors Jamshedpur. So I got a very good, first-hand understanding of how the automobiles get built. And therefore, that changes a person a lot, because even if today I compare, my walking speed is almost like 20% more than an average speed of walking. Because, that initial couple of years of my career really transformed that, how people should walk, talk, how they should mingle with people, etc. After a couple of years, I took up the job with Siemens, and that really helped me to understand the industrial reality. Whatever I learned, that helped me to really put in practice. And then my journey with IIM Bangalore started, where my main focus, during my time, there was no concept of even major or minor or specialization at the IIMs. So the first generation IIMs, they focused on, the core papers, so most of the papers that I took up, they were hovering around marketing and strategy. My first campus job was PwC because I was qualifying for the laterals. And then my entire journey with digital started. So even if you look at that, from the beginning, though in electrical and the other activities, the research and those kind of stuff were there. But at the same time, from 2008 onwards, my entire career, hovered around the digital. Initially, I worked in the area of digital transformation in the domain of business intelligence, reporting, analytics, etc. And then for last almost 10 years, it has hovered completely around digital. Around 2016 and 19, I shifted my base to Chicago. I also got a chance to interact not only the Indian companies, but primarily across the globe with the companies in US, companies in Uzbekistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, across the globe. And really, was really blessed to have an understanding about the digital concept from these geographies. What a mid-sized company in US thinks about digital versus what a mid-sized to a large corporate in India thinks about digital. So those kind of things are also very critical, very important for all of us to understand. And then from 2019, my journey started with one of the prominent solar companies in India. Today, by volume, the #1 in India, called Vikram Solar. So if we really look at digital around us, every day we get bombarded with a number of facts thrown at us, while at one point, Gartner really predicts the IoT market could be almost 19 trillion by 2025. On the other hand, people are talking about digital supply chain getting completely transformed with blockchain technology, which is way beyond the digital or cryptocurrencies, So blockchain has got the entire element of the transaction, which is beyond cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies, they take only a small part of the blockchain technology. On the other hand, we are talking about multiple use cases hovering around the areas of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and data science. And by the way, there are some differences, when we use these terms, but you largely find that many organizations, many people almost use them interchangeably. But it's not the reality because, ultimately your machine learning and deep learning, etc., are nothing but the subset of artificial intelligence. And in artificial intelligence and data science, there is an overlap, but they are not exactly the same. Similarly, the other areas, for example, IIoT, robotic process automation. So we get bombarded with those terms every day. The additional flavor that comes to this particular field or paradigm is also thanks to the startup ecosystem. And every other day we get company A versus company B attracting the venture capitalists, interest, and people are investing millions of dollars, millions of, about billions of money into those companies, and they're doing really well. That entire thing started long back, with Hotmail being taken over by Microsoft. But, we have seen over the last few years, a plethora of those companies and the unicorns. Quite a few of them are basically done by some of my batchmates that I am doing. So those things are happening, and we are seeing at them, looking at them, and we are seeing, wow, how they have changed, transformed the way we think of business today. Okay. We don't have to go really too far. We can look at Amazon, we can look at Flipkart, how they have changed the way we shop today. Okay. The way at Swiggy, how they have changed the way we order a food and get the food. Okay. Or maybe Uber, how we, kind of go from one place to another. Everything is getting changed so fast. Okay. It's almost a lightning speed around us. And digital takes either the onus or the credit for most of those changes. Okay. So moving forward, if we are talking about, as I mentioned that, and I stand by the fact that digital was around, the companies still had their website, so many years back. But what exactly changed? I just showed a very small piece of data, which is way back, okay, January 2020. We are talking of. It was almost, more than a year, almost 2 years back. Even at that point in time, we could have 7.75 billion of population staying in the urban. So 55%, the number, if I'm not very mistaken, is hovering around 58 to 60% today. Okay. The unique mobile phone users, so these are the people who are excluding the number of mobile phones. If you have two, you get counted still as one, was 5.19 billion. Okay. That is the kind of penetration. And the penetration was almost like 67% by taking the denominator as the number of people who are getting into some kind of communication. The internet user penetration was around 59%, 4.54 billion. Okay. And today that number hovers somewhere around 5.5 or so. Okay. Look at the rapid increase in the number. Active social media user, 3.80. And that number is again stands very close to around 4.2 or 4.3 billion as we are talking today. Okay. So it is said very commonly, but it's very interesting that in the year 2003, the level of information that the US president had is the same level of information that today a 6-year-old boy or girl can have with the help of a smart mobile. Isn't it amazing? So today we are talking about a plethora of digital media. Today we are talking about plethora of digital technologies, information, and the knowledge coming out of those data points. So that is what has changed with the help of smart devices, connected devices, and a number of other techniques and everything. So 3 things has happened. Number one, number of devices. There has been a huge increase in that. Increment in terms of data points. Today, everything because of the digital or digitalization, we can see huge number of data points and the compute power. The moment you have the data, in order to churn the information out of it and the knowledge out of it, you need to compute and process the data. So the processing speed, hardware, the technology, that has advanced very fast. The moment these 3 things happened together, immediately the business jumped into it. And they started asking a number of different and difficult questions, about my customer, about my supply chain, about my business, about my product delivery, about my customer satisfaction. That's what changed and that's what transformed. So any industry, okay, which is around us, over the last 5 years, it has been transformed. Even the traditional industries like the oil and gas, where the oil exploration happens, or metal and mining industry, which were quote unquote were called the traditional industries even 10 years back, they have transformed. As a part of my job, I keep on interacting and speaking in various forums. So when I interact with the CEOs of those companies, I get mesmerized to understand the shift, the paradigm shift in their thought process and how they are utilizing digital. So as I said, the same concept that I mentioned, the sources of information. because of the devices, big data, social media, smartphones, cloud. We are talking about the sources of information and the place to keep them. Data, wide variety, different type of transaction, clickstream, content. All these things are getting, kind of created seamlessly, continuously. And the compute power, what to do with that. So these are the three things that have changed over last around 10 years. As a result of that, the business usage of digital, as I mentioned already, it is touching across each of these industries. Some of them may be having a higher impact, some of them little lower impact, but all of them are undergoing a change. Even for the industries like agriculture, today there are a number of applications and number of successful startups who are actually taking up the satellite images or even the drone-based images to process and advise the farmers to really tell them what kind of crop will be better or suitable for the condition of the land, or what kind of medicines they need to use in order to grow the crops in a better way. ITEs have been the very old and traditional, industries, and they have become the front runner in terms of understanding. Insurance, for a long time, it was considered as something like an old machine which will contain and process all the data points. Today, you apply for buy insurance online, and when you buy that, from that particular point in time till the time you get your insurance, you get all the information, how your information is getting captured and processed. Banking NBFC, now today we are talking about digital transformation and financial services, okay, or BFSI as we call it, banking and financial services institutions, or insurance. BFSI is one of the front runners in terms of adopting to digital. Retail, how you understand the behavior of a customer into the store, everything. And of course, education, the EdTech. An academy, and there are so many more, okay? Travel and tourism, everything, all the industries around us is being connected, okay? And being touched upon by the industry. So moving on, what is digital transformation? Now that we are talking about the various aspects of digital, what is the digital transformation that we are talking about? There are primarily, if I just focus on the left-hand side, the digital transformation is basically talking about the journey from digital information up to the transform the institution or transform the company, okay? So you capture the information on a digital way. Then you organize the information, then you automate processes, you streamline processes, and you deliver the solution. So typically, the first up to 4 is considered as digitization or digitalization, okay? So digitization is that when you are digitizing your information and you're organizing that in a way. I had a paper invoice coming from somebody. Now I carry out, make it or ensure that this is actually transformed into a PDF. Okay, that is called digitization. But when you are considering digitalization, that means that I'm defining a process whereby the invoice will come to me in electronic form only. So you define the processes, you automate and streamline the processes, which is called digitalization. Okay, and then it is a digital transformation where you work with those information. Got it? So this is these are the 3 steps majorly, but there are 5 steps actually involved in it, as we have highlighted. Now, on the other hand, if you're talking about the digital transformation, it is all about having your entire ecosystem working in tandem with digital. So whereby you are not only connecting your processes or the data, it is also about how you connect and enable your people who are delivering the service and the customers who are actually delivering the service. Okay. So you're talking about your customers, your processes, your entire data at the back end, and this continuously hovers around in a particular flow of information in a streamless, kind of seamless manner and in a streamed way. And then once that happens, you start building the various use cases out of it. I have got a slide. I will show you how that can happen. Okay. So this entire thing coming together is called digital transformation. So if I may just further demystify it, it is nothing but the bottom portion of the left-hand diagram, which is about technology involving communication, then the data that comes out of the communication, okay? Be it the Q&A, the questions that some of you are already posting, or maybe the facial expression of some of you, how you react when you're interacting and you're listening to some of the words, okay? Internet of Things, how my individual machines are talking to each other. The automation, when we are connecting all of them together, and we are bringing out the use cases or intelligence out of the operational data, and the network, how we are using that in the various bits and pockets, okay? This entire thing taken together is called digital transformation, okay? A lot of times I keep hearing a lot of people talking about it, but guys, this is the crux of digital transformation, when you have everything in tandem and in a synchronized manner. Okay, let's move on. Some of the frameworks, useful frameworks in marketing. Just give one example. These are some of the traditional ways of marketing. These are there that even Mr. Kotler and Mr. Keller, they are the gurus in marketing. They have also developed and defined in their books around 20-25 years back, okay, or even 30 years back. For example, if you're talking about the 4 P's of marketing: product, price, place, promotion. If you're talking about 7 P's of marketing, they just added 3 more P's, which is like people, process, physical elements, okay? Or even 5C model, which are there in the bottom right corner. But today, nothing of these fundamentals have changed, okay? We are still, in order to really sell your product, you need to still approach the customer. But today, the demography of your customers have changed, okay? Today, they are no longer looking at the newspaper, opening a newspaper and really going through the advertisement. They're really not going through the small letters on a newspaper advertisement. They're just opening their smartphone. They're just taking that and they're finding out the details over there. They're just hovering from one page to another. Even 5 years back, the average time spent on a website was very close to around 1 minute to 2 minutes. Okay, very, very startling fact, guys. But today, the average attention is less than 6 seconds. So why it is happening? Because there are so many other websites and so many other pages are continuously touching us, right? You can find out, with your own examples. So many different companies, so many different newses, so many different contents are coming. And at the end of the day, we are just going through the headline maybe, and then we are just removing them. Okay, we are not even, don't have the time to go through it. Every time there are so many notifications which are coming on Facebook. So in the process, we are focusing almost 6 to 7 hours or sometimes even more on the digital media. Amazing opportunity for digital marketing. But what is my average span? 6 seconds. That's a big blow. Because if you're opening a newspaper, then you are going through it. If you can secure the bottom right corner, you are assured at least you will get this much viewership. And that will boost some kind of business. Today, that is no longer assured because most of your customers, they're going through digital. Right? So the marketing, traditionally as we know it, even if the fundamentals are there, even if the fundamentals have not changed, even if my advertisements are there, even if customers' digital contents are there, okay? But today, everything got shifted to digital. Content has been changed to digital content, okay? The message-based marketing has changed to the digital marketing, okay? The targeting, the STP, everything has been transformed. So that is just a small example of how digital has transformed. And that's why we have the papers like digital marketing, right? So this is a full-fledged subject which talks about the artificial intelligence application of AI, in the digital marketing, how to carry out clickstream analysis, so on and so forth. I mean, because I'm very passionate about it, I can go on and on for the entire day almost. Even look at how the new product development has been transformed today. Earlier, this is again one of the traditional framework of new product development. You start with an idea, okay? In the process, you do some deliberation, you create a product, okay? Then you develop, create some prototype. At the same time, you start building a use case for that or a business case. If I invest in this particular product, what is going to be the market size of it? Then you develop the product, then you carry out some prototype, then you carry out the actual product, then do the test marketing, etc., and then you launch it. So this is a traditional field. Today, this entire framework is there. But today, what has happened is that time to deploy these steps have changed absolutely. Because today, what we are talking about crowdsourcing of ideas. Okay, where through the digital media, the people and the companies, they're basically talking to us. They're basically giving us the ideas, At the same time, the community, for example, the potential users, they're reaching out to us, okay? And they're giving their ideas to us. We are talking about the new ideation. And there are the concepts of, maybe, connected thinking, which are coming to that. Design thinking, which are helping us to develop this. And the test marketing. Today, you can reach out to the customer and carry out the test marketing model very easily. So there are multiple rounds of that. The time has shortened and continuously new products are coming in the market. For example, the great example is the BYJU'S, right? So the BYJU'S was there, one of the applications in one of the front runners, amazing company. Eventually, White Hat Junior came in, got acquired by BYJU'S also, okay? Now you have, if you really want to learn something in those areas, they have the limitations, the online platforms, etc. But you have got so many different companies which are there. So they have transformed the education space completely. So like that, there are many other examples that I can cite. As I said, I can go on for the entire day instead of 1 hour, but it has been changed thanks to the digital media and thanks to the digital application. So now if I quickly just focus on some of the areas, the slide that I mentioned to you, the functional areas, if you look at, for example, finance, production, marketing, sales and customer care, strategic planning. Today, the application or usage of digital has been completely changed. Finance, we are talking about automation of non-cerebral parts, because in finance, there are a lot of reporting and number crunching out there. Number crunching, if you're carrying out for the first time, it really seems to be interesting. But in the number crunching, same sort of number crunching you have to do. For that, you need to fetch the data from your ERP. I mean, that really becomes boring. That's where comes the robotic process automation. Okay. So financial analytics, we're talking about the compliance. Today, there are applications which can predict the compliance challenges that a company may face. When you talk about production, the production, you can carry out the small application. For example, Kaizen, Pokayoke, those things are there. Nothing has changed. But today we are talking about the industrial automation platform or industrial Internet of Things platform or IIoT platforms. Today we are talking about be it Infosphere, be it ThingWorks. These are some of the leading platforms. Okay, so they are coming in. Okay, some of them are created by multiple companies which are there already. What they are enabling, they are helping us to connect with the individual application which are governed by PLC or CNC machines. So what is happening? Your information technology is getting married with your operational technology. So it's a IT, OT coming together, and you have a cloud platform for storing your data. And on the top of that, you can build the predictive analytics. What are some of the predictive analytics? For example, the production analytics. Can I predict that moving forward in next 4 hours, what is going to be the production volume? Okay, fairly accurately. Can I predict when a particular machine is going to undergo a breakdown? If I can predict that, I can immediately take care of some of the core areas, making sure that that breakdown never happens. Okay? So today we really have that firepower. We have that kind of capability and power in order to leverage the data and really coming up with a number of initiatives with that. Marketing, I have already explained. Sales and customer care, you have the AI-enabled bots. Most of the company websites that you go today, you have the chatbots over there. Today, we are talking about the employee engagement chatbots, which are very smartly crafted, designed. They can also take care of your queries, okay, at the organization standpoint. We all know about Alexa, we know about Siri, we know about Cortana. So those are all there in order to support us, support the way you are working today. So customer information, faster resolution, these are the other areas on which you can build the sentiment analysis of the customers. You can find out what element of your marketing campaign is really working well or which one is not. Okay. Strategic planning, traditionally known as a very cerebral area, that part has also changed. The models for planning, so you can actually build the predictive analytics model. Trend analysis is again like from almost a bygone days. So today we are talking about projecting that using a random forest or any other technique. We are talking about the financial data prediction, okay, extrapolation, scenario analysis. We are talking about data science projects where you can actually carry out Even an application where whether the employee will stay with the firm or not, you can predict that fairly accurately. So all these functions, they have been transformed thanks to the unprecedented development in the area of digital transformation. What are the technology areas? If we really look at robotic process automation, which basically has to, carry out or develop the intelligent workforce. Every person will have a bot. The processes which are very much cerebral, they will handle that on their own. If it is non-cerebral and repetitive in nature, they will just launch a bot. The bot will do the work in 5 minutes, which otherwise a human being would like to take for 50 minutes. So it is 1:10 reduction in terms of response. We talk about predictive modeling, as I explained to you, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, defect prediction, amazing area and application of deep learning or artificial neural network. Okay, IoT platforms, Industry 4.0, all the companies, they are talking about it. Virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, blockchain. We're talking about additive manufacturing, which is nothing but 3D printing. We're talking about, blockchain, how you can enable the transaction and supply chain with blockchain. Okay, so these are some of the areas. So as a student, aspirant, or professional, we continuously, get touched upon, at the same time, get bombarded with these words. And we try to hover around them, learn as much as we can. Okay. So why digital transformation? If I again just want to relook at that, today we are enabled because the business is continuously under pressure because of the competition. Okay. I just gave an example of EduTech. Instead of one company, today we have got 20 different companies. And till June in India, we had almost 20 odd unicorns. Okay. The unicorns are when your market valuation is 1 billion USD. So we had almost 21 unicorns. Out of them, quite a few were in the area of educational technology or EdTech. Okay. Just one small example. There were services industry. There were companies like Postman, and there are many other companies, which has attained the traditional company of, logistics company. Like, you take the example of delivery. Okay. So these are the companies, or lending card, which are the companies crowdsourcing, crowdfunding. So these are the companies which are really changing the scenario of the business as it is done around us. Okay. We are experiencing the urgent need of modernize the outdated system. Customers remaining same, but it is changing. Their needs are changing. Okay. Their wants are changing. How they want the service to be delivered is changing. Okay. Earlier, we were dependent on the traditional cab drivers or auto, right? Auto rickshaw kind of thing. But today we are just calling from my smartphone. I'm calling an Uber car. And it's coming, it's air conditioned, right? How we used to even order or request for the ambulance. Today you have got apps like AmbiPalm. You can actually have an app and you can call an ambulance if, God forbid, there is a requirement at any point in time. So all these things are at our fingertips. Okay? So digital transformation is around us and it is changing us drastically. Along with that, there are other needs as well. For example, data. A lot of organizations, even today, they struggle around the data collection, processing, assimilation, storage, and data security. Okay. Pegasus is still very, very much fresh in our mind, right? The problem which are happening. Even before that, there were a number of other malwares, which can just immediately lock your laptop as you are processing any particular data or getting into any fictitious areas. So how the data can be collected, collated, stored in a secured environment. That becomes one of the big areas for a lot of companies. Data computing. Once I stored the data, how can I apply the computation power on the top of it? Okay. Should I create a data lake or should I create a data warehouse? What should be the normalization form, etc.? These are little technical, but I'm just kind of touching upon them. In general, the knowledge of digital transformation, who will use this data? People who are running their business, they are going to run it, right? And we humans, it is said that managing the soft, managing the hard is soft, but managing the soft is hard. That means that managing hardware is very easy. It's a piece of cake. But managing the soft, which is human being, or changing them is very difficult. The way I am supposed to think, I have been thinking for last so many years. If you come up with a technology, there is a high chance that there will be resistance. So digital transformation, it also faces resistance from different blocks, different companies, and different type of people. But thanks to the things like SMACIT, social, mobile, analytics, cloud, and IoT, today you are looking at one particular person, doesn't matter what is the occupation, doesn't matter his or her monthly or annual income, doesn't matter which particular social class that he or she belongs to, he or she is definitely going to have a mobile phone. Okay. And very high chances are there that that particular mobile phone might be a low end, okay, might have a lower resolution of the camera, but it will be a smartphone. And if that is a smartphone, then he or she is open to the plethora of information. Okay. So he or she can be a key component of the digital transformation, because that person is going to the office and he or she is having that mind, okay, there is some new technology coming in, this particular way we can serve the customer, because he is open to the global information, which are bombarding him every now and then. So therefore, all these things taken together, we are today talking about the data, the corresponding analysis, the idea generation, and finally the transformation. So this is how digital is basically taking care of each of these aspects. Okay. Even some of the interesting things, the top right one, if you really look at it, step one is basically your sensors. It's more around the industrial way, how the industrial automation is actually happening today. We're talking about sensors. We're talking about imaging, spectroscopy, microscopy, or even a processing, where a normal camera is there to capture information. The next part is input and output systems, whereby you're storing that image in a database or in a network cluster. Then you are computing. You're calling the various computation platforms which are working on those images to come up with a scalable algorithm, an application of a scalable algorithm, and coming up with the insight that, okay, this particular image shows that your product is faulty. So if you go ahead with the further manufacturing process, there is a high chance that the product will be broken. So therefore, the moment you detect it earlier, you are not running the additional processing on the top of that material. So you're just storing it aside. Thereby, you're reducing the cost of poor quality, or COPQ, as the industrial automation or industrial people, they generally call it. So this is where, again, digital is helping the traditional manufacturing industry in order to take care of the quality part of it. Many more use cases are there. Okay. But so how all these things are basically resulting into some of the data, which are again on the right side of the slide, about the industry overview. The market is growing, continuously 23%. Okay. 3.3 trillion by 2025. Huge growth in that particular industry. Business adoption. The companies are almost 89% of the companies, despite the initial resistance. 89% of the companies are looking into digital. They are adopting to digital. Many of them are also adopting to digital first. If I am going to reach out to a customer, I need to find out how I can reach them digitally. I will put my digital methodologies as the first priority. Even then, the challenges are also there, friends. 45% of the executives, they don't think that their company has the right technology to implement a digital transformation. And that's a wrong concept, and they're being continuously proven wrong. Companies, on the other hand, 40% of the executives are saying that top benefits of digital transformation are continuously improving the operational efficiency. How all these data are relevant for many of you? Because many of you are actually aspiring to be a part of this digital transformation, right? So look at the size, the way the market is growing. So as a part of that, there is a tremendous opportunity. Digital transformation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these exponential technologies together is a field where there is a huge, huge gap in terms of demand and in terms of supply. So demand is somewhere here and supply is here. That means there is a huge gap that needs to be filled. And that is where the understanding of management and at the same time the technology together is needed. So today we are talking about when we talk about the next generation or the new generation of the managers, you are not only expected to know how marketing works, you're supposed to know how digital marketing works, where your base will remain the same, but you will be adept to take up the various digital technologies. When you are talking about the agile way of working, that is not good enough, because agile is a theory, right? You need to need to be comfortable to implement it with the help of a number of agile tools like Mingle or many others. Okay? So when you're talking about SMAC, it's a term, but as a manager or as a technology-enabled manager, you're supposed to know what SMAC means, and at the same time, how SMAC can be deployed to increase the marketing campaign of your business or retain your key employees in the next financial year. So the ask is lofty from a digital transformation paradigm. All right. So typically, if you look at this digital transformation as the various levers of digital transformation, you'll get to know that artificial intelligence and machine learning and data science, this together is a major area of digital transformation. Industry 4.0 is another big area of focus of digital transformation. And of course, digital consulting, whereby all the big companies and the major companies or the service delivery companies, they come, is in order to identify what are the areas where digital can come. Robotic process automation is another big area where Gartner has got a very good and positive prediction for the overall market growth for robotic process automation. As I mentioned, some of these fields, it talks about digital consulting. And again, after you pass out, those concepts you'll again come across. By that time, the fields will also be changed to a great extent. But these are some of the hot jobs in the market. Okay. When I, as a part of my corporate career, when I go out and I try to recruit from the various colleges, these are some of the capabilities that I look for. Okay. So I manage a team of almost 20 people. So when I do that, and we also expand very rapidly. So when we go out in the market, we see that these are some of the requirements which are there. And we try to attract talent around them. Okay. So when you're talking about digital consulting, we're talking about digital benchmarking, technology evaluation, managing the proof of concept, digital sustainability, okay, PMO implementation, etc. We talk about AI, ML, and data science. We talk about descriptive analytics, which is nothing but your normal development of the dashboard. We then talk about the diagnostic analytics, why something has happened, why my sales dropped, why there's a huge employee turnover, etc. The next one is what will happen. So given this situation, what is going to be my predicted value of my sales or my employee churn over the next maybe one month, 1 quarter, 1 year kind of thing, and prescriptive. So if I change some of the controlling parameters, how my turnover will look like. That is another very interesting thing, right? Because we all operate with multiple levers around us. So how we can change that, and what will be the result or the output of that. The next one, as I mentioned, is the robotic process automation. And there are multiple way or the factors. For example, attended RPA or attended bot. Attended bot meaning a human will trigger a bot. Unattended bot is that you can time the bot. So there are some amazing stuff that can happen. You can actually time a bot where the bot will be scheduled and it will be triggered around that time with the help of a scheduler, and it will perform a set of activity. So if it is like every day, the bot will go through your mail and block your calendar for the meetings. That can be possible. And that is exactly how Alexa is doing that today. It's an intelligent chatbot anyway, right? So those are some of the things that many companies are contemplating to implement. And of course, Industry 4.0, as we mentioned, the smart services, smart sales, smart phones. These are, again, the Industry 4.0 is one of the front runners in the digital transformation. Benefits, I mean, I don't even have to tell you what are the benefits. These are not only increasing the operational efficiency, these are not only increasing the profitability, but they are also fundamentally changing the way businesses are run. Okay. As a result of that, it is not taking away jobs, friends. A lot of companies, a lot of people, or the traditional thinking is that digital will change or will take away a lot of jobs. If you remember, many of you, or many of us were also, in our schools or colleges, when the same fear came around the computerization. A lot of people thought that the computers will come and many of our jobs will be taken away. But if we resisted the computer or the usage of computers, no Microsoft would have been born. And today we would not be talking about Python, PySpark, Hadoop, or those kind of stuff, or even a data science role. So history is the biggest example, okay, whereby the jobs get transformed, they don't get taken away. And this transformation happens, there are reskilling of people, okay? And many of you who are very young and who are aspiring to enter the industry, for you, this is the best time to really get your hands on these technologies and then be ready for the new age management and new age managers. So coming back to this, the benefits are already well established. And many other companies, they're actually focusing only on digital. So as a result of that, obviously, there is a huge adoption. As we see, 89% of the companies, across the globe, they're looking at digital in a favorable way. So it can transform your customer experience, more database insight, greater collaboration across your supply chain, improved agility and innovation. So these are some of the very quick adoption and benefit of digital. A lot of companies, they really struggle that how can I put all these pieces together? I'm talking about so many technologies, right? Robotic process, automation, then we're talking about AI, ML, deep learning, or data science. We are also saying about it's a little different. We're talking about cloud, we are talking about social, mobile, we're talking about blockchain. So many new terms, so many new jargons, how to put all of them in the context. That is where digital consulting comes. It really understands the overall value chain and then kind of creates these fields. And it is not that all of you would have to be mastered in each of these areas. No, not really, okay? You need to learn one particular area and then embrace the other areas as a connected area, okay? And then if you can do that, beyond the time, you'll see that many of the solutions come naturally to you with the help of technology. So even if the terms, the field may seem to be so daunting, but trust me, it is not that difficult also. If you are guided well, if you are trained well, if you join good college, good campus, you will learn those things. And you need to be very inquisitive. You need to continuously be inquisitive and ask the right set of questions, okay? And the answers will follow. Agile methodology, a lot of times, a lot of companies and forums, they ask me that, what is the best way of implementing it? I think Agile is the best way of implementing it because your field is continuously changing. Your technology is continuously changing, okay? And as a result of that, the way you need to deliver, that also needs to be continuously changed, okay? Similarly, if you're a student, if you are an early age professional, if you're really thinking how to get in there, you need to be always on your toes. Trust me, even 20 years in the industry, I always try to learn new things every day, okay? So I spend maybe around 10 to 12 hours almost every day on internet, try to find out, go through the reports, go through the digital, and try to enrich my knowledge. Because if I don't do that today, I may be obsolete, maybe just as early as tomorrow. So that's how we all need to think about, and we need to continuously keep learning. Thank you very much. I just wanted to end this particular session with that particular notion and message that learning is the very key and the crux in this space, okay? I cannot claim, and nobody can claim that he knows everything. But I go by the very, famous saying by the French author, Voltaire. He said that, never judge a human being by the answers he gives, but judge him by the questions he asks. So always try to ask the right set of questions. And I think the remaining part will automatically come. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Sir, we are honored and privileged to have such a wonderful resource amongst us in GIBS, who would today probably, I would say, my brain got a lot of storming sessions where I could, I said, ye bhi hai, wo bhi hai, and all the such thoughts. Because we knew only there's something called as digital marketing, or there's something called as digital, that's all. There is a lot of phases which from the basics, from when we speak about digitization to digitalization to the digital transformation, is a really an amazing thing to know. And this is the need of the hour, I'm sure, because everybody, let that be a startup, let that be a student, let that be an early age, the working professional or an entrepreneur, I'm sure these are required for every single individual. And as I could just see things that these days we see very young kids and using the technology and saying, please play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, or please play my games on the AI. But we don't realize that this is the need of the hour where every single person needs to understand that this is what the digitalization is all about. So we are really happy to know so many things about. So, sir, if I have your permission, can we take few of the Q&A, sir? I mean, we have a lot of questions which has been asked. I'll take the first question, which says, this has been asked by Raj Kiran, who says, what are the barriers that usually block the path to the transformation?
Excellent question, Mr. Raj. Thank you very much for asking this. Very relevant. As I mentioned, I go back to that saying that, managing or transforming the hard is soft, but transforming the soft is hard. So, when, as a part of my consulting career, when I interacted with a number of companies, different companies, okay, the mindset of people is the hardest barrier to break. Okay, that's where, if you really go through some of the, the articles of some of the global consulting majors like McKinsey, BCG, etc., they say that for an organization to transform, the CXOs, they really need to go out in the market. Really understand how the customers are really buying and shopping for the product, how they're interacting, how they're spending time on digital media. And companies like Amazon, companies like, many others, that even Starbucks, they have the dedicated roles whereby they continuously map the customers. So one big area, I think a lot of companies talk about, a lot of people talk about some of the barriers being data, IT infrastructure, IT knowledge. No, the real block in transformation is the mindset. Once the mindset gets absolutely aligned, once you know that this is the path I want to take, then everything else will fall in place. Okay. The other smaller scale barriers are really in terms of articulating and continuously reverberating across the organization culture. I can come up with 20 different innovative applications. Okay. Can I really make sure that the people actually use it? That's another piece of puzzle that you need to continuously articulate. So I think these two, one is the mindset, one is the communication. You need to continuously communicate not only external ecosystem, but also within your internal ecosystem, within the organization, so that everybody is, absolutely vibrant about technology, about the adoption of it. These are, in my view, are the, path blockers.
Great, sir. I'm sure Raj Kiran would have got his right information which he was looking forward for. So, sir, moving ahead with the next question. So probably we'll be taking very few questions, sir, because the questions are really, a lot of questions are there, but we'll take few of them. So how does digital transformation affect this society? This has been asked by Mr. Shanu Kumar has asked this question. How digital transformation affect this society?
That's again a very good question. Thank you for asking. There are two different schools of thought. Okay. I have been one of the speakers in one of the international forums where somebody asked this question, that when you are talking about digital transformation, it is also taking away a lot of jobs. Okay. And it was somebody, who is like really foreign educated, understands this particular term technology. And he's actually coming from the sociology background. Okay. The relevant question, and that school of thought is also there. And a lot of people are actually asking that you are talking about reskilling. Okay. But can you really teach digital marketing to somebody who is driving a truck? Okay, that's a very important question, right? So even if we are talking about digital, we are all upbeat, but at the end of the day, we all come from the privileged part of the society, right? We all got our basic education. We all know how to, use the computer, and we all are really thankful to our ecosystem, our parents, everybody around us who nurtured us, right? But what about those people who did not get that privilege? Okay, so that is one part of one school of thought. The other school of thought is, look at the way it has transformed. Look at how Uber transformed the communication. Okay. Has it really taken away the jobs from the drivers? No. It has even created an ecosystem whereby the drivers are paid better and they know how to, and the service has been increased. the customers are happy, the drivers are happy, the operators are happy, the car owners are happy, and the investors are also happy. So if that is the transformation, then where is the harm in it? We can take this discussion to the next level and go to the ultimate digital world, where people are saying that what about the driverless cars? Tomorrow there will be driverless cars. So all these drivers will be taken out of job. My answer to that is no, not really. Because if you really look at the overall human transfer, and I really follow Yuval Noah Harari when he talked about the digital and how this has changed, how the homo deus will come, etc. This is inevitable. And with the passage of time, what happens is that the digital transformation and the generational transformation, they sometimes come at the same point. So what will happen? You have your entire population getting older. They are getting reskilled to some extent, but ultimately beyond an age, they are coming out of the job age or that particular time. And the new era, which is actually coming up, it is also taking over with the help of the new technologies. So that happens in between. It is not possible to have them absolutely in a synchronized fashion. It's again a very deep area, but it happens. There were little hiccups here and there, but it happens eventually. The benefit is that the increment in terms of the quantum of work that we do today. As I gave the example, 2003, US president, the type of information he had, today a 6-year kid with the help of a smartphone can have that, right? So that is how it has increased the number of job creation. Overall job market did not squeeze over last 1 decade or two, but it has only expanded and increased. So that's my answer to it.
Very, very true, sir. Very well said indeed. Because rather it has simplified our lives in every possible way. I mean, every single thing has been improvised with the digitalization. So we'll take up one next question is by Sujit Chakraborty. He asks, how can digital transformation gain empathy of customers? And what's the possibility of chances to solve real life problems of human needs in the upcoming 5 to 10 years time?
Very good question. Once again, I think.
Sir, do you want me to repeat?
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So from the customer standpoint, ultimately today, customers are as demanding as they always were. Okay, but today, thanks to the openness of the digital era, the clients are, the customers are much more demanding than they used to be. So today, the customers, with the help of digital technology, the customers are also more and more demanding. It will be up to the company how fast they can be on their toes and they can implement the technologies and tools in order to meet that ever-changing requirement. On the real-life social problem, today we are already using it. Okay, today a number of operations, look at the education, healthcare, and again the solving some of the poverty, some of the big problems like pandemic and poverty of the human nature, all these problems, and of course predicting the social, predicting the natural calamities and those kind of stuff also. All these 4 or 5 major aspects, if you really see, the success rate has really increased. There have been very recently the cyclones like Amphan. There has been a number of other cyclones which have, the prediction has been so correct. We could take, in India, we could take the measures so that in some of the states like Odisha, the death has been 0. Isn't it some of the amazing way on the advancement of digital? Today, we are talking about predicting the cases of cancer, okay, with the help of deep learning techniques with the accuracy of 90%. Okay, amazing way. Deep learning can really work where the tissues of the different parts of the human body can be taken, and it can be actually taken, under the same way like we do biopsy. But in this case, it will not have to be done like a biopsy, but it can be just taken the image of the different layers, and then it can carry out the deep learning algorithms in order to predict. In advancement, and imagine that the third grade cases, okay, where the success rate of the treatment is merely 1% or a fraction of a percent, that can improve tremendously. So obviously, we are talking about all these things. Sustainability is another thing, though globally there is some discontent in terms of whether it's a true problem or not. I belong to the school of thought simply because it's one of the biggest problem of the human, civilization today. If we don't take care of sustainability today, it is really, really, we are sitting on a timeline. we are talking about data analytics to really understand and predict some of the different scenario mapping so that we can, decelerate the carbon emission and then come up with the policies. So these are some of the big areas. Education. Today we are talking about education, the delivery mechanism so fast, so smooth, and that can happen very quickly, right? So these are some of the areas by which we can really solve some of the critical human problems today.
I hope the very well said that I'm sure in the upcoming days, technology is gonna solve much better problems, even getting into, but at the same time, there is every pros and cons for everything. So absolutely. It's the technology. Yeah. So what happens due to the time constraints, sir, we will not take up the further questions. I apologize for all the participants who have asked the questions and we are unable to answer those, but we'll surely take up. And sir will be available online. Am I right that way, sir? Can they mail you the certain questions in case if anybody has it? Can they get in touch with you?
I'll be very happy.
Great.
I'll be very happy. That's why my details are there. They can also route it through the college as well if they want. And I'll be happy to address it.
Sir, in that case, we are very privileged that you being our faculty and the students will surely be benefited with a lot of digitalization and a lot of information for the upcoming era. So thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for your assistance in the digital marketing session, sir. So I request, ma'am, over to you, ma'am. So kindly share a vote of thanks to the Soumyadip, sir, as well as the participants for the evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sandeep, sir. That was an amazing session. That was really, a brainstorming and a lot of things, which we didn't know the deep intricacies of it, and we got to know, it was very interesting. So, let me, propose the vote of thanks. It's my pleasure to propose this vote of thanks, even though thanking is customary. The phrase thank you cannot justify the gratitude we have in our heart and mind. Mr. Soumyadip Chakraborty, sir, thank you for enlightening us with all your perspective on the impact of digital. Thank you for your great contribution of knowledge sharing. We are glad, we deem it a privilege that you are connected with the team GIBS. On behalf of the team of GIBS Business School, Bangalore, please accept our sincere thanks and best wishes, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It has been really a pleasure to be invited. Thank you very much. And thanks a lot for all the participants to attend and really pay attention to what we mentioned. And thank you very much for the wonderful questions. Thanks a lot. I look forward to the similar opportunity and address them. Thank you.
Yes, pleasure is ours too.
Thank you. Thank you,
sir.
I
thank my team of GIBS for their extensive support and effort to be the best. I thank Pradeep Khadria, sir, Director, Admissions, Sandeep Bansali, sir, Head Operations, and the entire team for their extended, timely planning, help, and support. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, Sandeep, sir. A big thank you to the dear participants. We are really obliged from your overwhelming responses. GIBS is known for knowledge sharing and its hospitality too. Experience it by visiting our campus. I bet that you will love the state-of-the-art corporate infrastructure, and you also love meeting the team of innovative minds, intellectual minds at GIBS who believes in spreading the power of positivity. Look forward for your visit. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms. We are there in LinkedIn, Twitter, Telegram, Facebook, etc. Request you to take a good health, good care of your health and growth. The e-certificate of this webinar will be sent to your registered email ID by 30th August, that is by Monday. And not to miss the upcoming webinars, please register as early as possible. Limited entries. Our next webinar is on 8th August 2021 on the topic Contemporary HR Practices. Contemporary HR Practices, and the guest speaker is none other than our alumni, GIBS alumni, the batch 2018-20, who is the experienced higher sourcer of Goldman Sachs, that is Miss Kalyani Upadhyay. Look forward. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sandeep, sir. Thank you, Pradeep, sir. Thank you, Soumyadip, sir.
Thank you.